Good morning, Husker fans, and welcome back to the Husker Big Red YouTube channel, and welcome to those who are also joining us on Facebook. Sorry, we got it started a little bit late, had some technical difficulties, so don't have quite the usual setup with the camera and microphone, so a little blurry, maybe don't hear quite as well, but we'll get through it anyway. So if anybody's hanging around, still wants to chat some Nebraska football, here we are here for the next half hour or so, hopefully as long as we don't have any other breakdowns. But Danny, how are you doing on this Saturday morning?
I'm doing okay. I'm just noticing right now my forehead looks massive from this camera angle, so I don't know if I'll be doing great by the time we're all done with this. But I as of right now, besides the Peyton Manning forehead, I'm a little sleepy. I stayed up late watching Nebraska volleyball, and talk about coffee with Husker Big Red. I need some this morning.
Yeah, I even they had the Nebraska volleyball team put out like get your coffee ready before the match. It was a bit of a late start, but quick finish. I mean, they absolutely dominated Kansas last night, so that was
Story of my life.
Pretty impressive. Yeah,
Late start, quick finish.
The way Andy Jackson came out there and played at the start of that match, that was really impressive. So she kind of shut the door on the Jayhawks, really early. So. Yeah, but big basketball game today. A lot of not head coaching, but coaching. Rumblings. Head coaching because I'm caught up in my Michigan thing. But we still are looking for a defensive line coach. We still don't know what's happening with Elijah Robinson. Although I feel like there's been doesn't sound like he's going to LSU from what the reporting I've heard or that I read last night. So it's not. I don't know. I feel like there's a good chance Nebraska's going to get this thing done.
I feel like he is not formally announced, but I feel like he's in the bag. That's just my feeling. That's just the feeling that I get, that he's already a Nebraska Cornhusker, and they're just waiting to make an announcement. But I have a good feeling that he is in the fold, but we'll just have to wait and see until they make a formal announcement.
Yeah, because it really seemed like the deal was done with LSU. I know there's been some other schools involved, but it just, he's got the connection to Matt Rule. And I know somebody was like, oh, I don't know if we're going to pay a defensive line coach like, $1 million, like $1.2 million or something like that. Like, no, Nebraska needs to start doing that. Like, if you want to compete with teams like, Oregon and Ohio State, you got to spend money. You just have to do that. And so I think that would be, if you look back at, Matt Rule wanting to, stay here and more NIL resources. Well, I think that goes for the coaching staff too. Mm-hmm. And so, and actually, something we haven't talked about, but did you see that Dana Holgorsen actually had some discussions with Sonny Dykes down there at TCU about the potentially being the OC there? Did you see that?
I did, yeah, and I thought that was interesting, which made me wonder if that was on his own volition or if Matt Rule was like, hey, this kind of isn't working right now, so let's try something else. Either way, I thought that was interesting. But I think maybe his style would fit better. I was gonna say in the Big 12, but I don't really think there's a Big 12 anymore. But maybe his style would fit better at TCU. Maybe he was just kind of dipping his toe in the water and seeing what would come of it. But I did think that was interesting.
Yeah, it didn't get a ton of traction, and he's obviously staying. But it was interesting because Rule said on Monday, I'm not going to fire anybody else. So that made me wonder. It kind of seemed like people were like, does that mean somebody could leave? And people were talking about kind of Satterfield, but Holgorsen too. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but I guess maybe it's not a bad thing
for the long haul, for better or for worse, probably because he doesn't have anywhere else to go. I don't know. Like, and
I don't even know if he's under contract, honestly. So I mean,
I don't think his contract technically expires until the end of the calendar year. Although I could be mistaken on that, but I wouldn't mind Dana coming back. I do think a lot of his plays were open last year. It was just a matter of not having an offensive line. So put that with Jeep Wade and let's roll. Let's drive this Jeep.
Yeah, Jeep Wade officially announced this week, along with Rob Orich, hopefully pronouncing that. I think we're pronouncing that right though. Yeah. And then another guy that that we have on the teaser of this video, I wanted to talk about, Roy Manning, who was hired as an edge coach. There was, I feel like, some confusion that people thought like this was going to be the D-line coach. No, he's just going to coach edge. which, I mean, it is its own separate position. Some
Yeah.
teams have edge coaches, some don't. But I think, last year San Diego State had 32 sacks, which was 23rd in the FBS. And I would certainly take 32 sacks in Nebraska. They only had, I think, 19 last year. So anybody that can help, get to the quarterback. And I think it's also good to allow, Rob Borch to bring some guys over from San Diego State. And actually, there's been 2 pass rushers who have entered the portal from San Diego State. One that had 3.5 sacks, another that didn't have very many sacks, but had a really high pressure rate. And so if Nebraska is looking for guys that can step into this defense and potentially, supplement that pass rush, there's talent out there already with the connection to the new defensive coordinator.
And that's all you need to do. You need to pressure. Sacks are great, but as long as you can get pressure and disruption, that's important. I mean, last year opposing quarterbacks had time to watch the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy and make breakfast and not even feel a defender. So, I mean, getting pressure is equally as important. And just getting those guys and also kind of working with what we have, like Williams Noweri and Desan McCullough obviously announced his intentions for the draft, but some of the younger guys as well. So I really like the addition of Roy Manning. He brought along Jabril Peppers, former New England Patriot and Michigan man, and helped recruit him. So he's a solid recruiter as well. I like the addition a lot.
Yeah, I think it was a really solid move. And now if we can take Matt Rule with what he said, we're going to have, Dvorak as the linebackers coach, Addison Williams in the secondary. And then, Elijah Robinson would be, like we've said, a home run hire if they can get that done. If it just doesn't, the interesting thing is, they fired Terry Braden on whenever that was done. We found out about it on Monday. There hasn't been anybody else connected to this D-line job that I've heard. There hasn't been any. So that's what makes me think, kind of like what you're saying, is that something's done with Elijah Robinson, or it's really close to getting done with Elijah Robinson. So hopefully they can get that thing over the finish line, because, man, that would be, of all the hires Matt Rule's made, whether it's coordinators, like that would be, I think, the most impactful, honestly, because if you can get this defensive line, get some, I mean, you're talking about like Walter Nolan is a guy he recruited, was a first-round draft pick last year. And I'm not saying those guys are all going to start coming here, but he will get talent here. And if you get talent on the D line and you can develop your offensive line, then that's 2 things that Nebraska just has not done that well since Matt Rule's got here. So I really like the steps that he's taken to address, some of these issues, and especially in the trenches. So good on Matt Rule. It's been a decisive offseason, but I think it was needed. And I like what he's doing so far.
And people made a good point, and I know they're not the same sport, but Fred Hoiberg got an extended period of time to rebuild and, tinker with his roster and, change his style and kind of get things up and going. And look where the basketball team is right now. And maybe, Matt Rule, as much as football and Husker fans don't want to hear it, maybe he needs that time to tinker and readjust as well.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody's going to be I know you hate. Not everyone's going to do what Indiana did. I mean, that's like a once in a lifetime. I don't
hate the statement you made at all, because that's the point I've been screaming at the clouds for like the last year and a half. So keep preaching that, Chris. Keep preaching that.
I mean, I do think that there's some legit, criticism of Matt Rule, but he's also taken some positive steps forward. So, I mean, I think there's could he have won more games? Sure. But, do we need to hold him to the Curt Cignetti standard? No, that's obviously ridiculous, because nobody else has ever achieved, in modern like college football, this has literally never happened before. I mean, let's take in a program like in Indiana and gone to this level. So, Curt Cignetti is his own, entity at this point. We can't compare him to anybody else.
And let's be honest, I mean, we can still be 4-8 and screaming out perks that we didn't get, 5 or 6 years ago, and are threatening to sue the university for it. So could be a whole hell of a lot worse, or we could be Michigan. So,
I think Michigan, to be honest, I mean, as bad as this all is, I don't think Sharon Moore was a very good coach. So,
no,
if they could get, they've been, how much I like Kenny Dillingham. I mean, that's, if anything happened with Matt Rule, that was my guy. So if Michigan gets Kenny Dillingham, like, I honestly think it'll be, there's going to be some tough times ahead. I think they're going to end up firing the athletic director, but they're going to hire their head coach first. So,
well, I think there's tough times ahead right now. So, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. But I'm just saying it could be a lot worse. Like we could be Colorado, we could be, Wisconsin. I mean, even though they played a little bit better this season, there are coaches in this cycle and around the country that are kind of not leading their programs correctly. So
Yeah, hopefully we're not Wisconsin next year just because the schedule's so difficult. They actually ended up not being they weren't nearly as bad as we all tried to make them out to be.
no,
So, hopefully just something to keep in mind is these schedules are really difficult. And I think that people need to take that into account a little bit. Sometimes like in the NFL too, you get a really difficult schedule. It's just, it just is what it is.
honestly, next
So
year, as long as we don't go 2-10, I'd take like 5-7, given the difficulty of the schedule, depending on what else they do, obviously. But I was just looking at it
yeah,
again, and it is really, really tough.
I mean, you got 3 guaranteed wins. So, I mean, all you got to do is go 3-6. I mean, you should be able to go 3-6 in the Big Ten. I know the schedule's difficult, but at least they should at least get to a bowl game. If they don't, then Matt Rule's going to be. I don't think he'll get fired, but he'll definitely. But then again, like how many more coordinators and assistant coaches can you fire? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's fired. He's on his second offensive coordinator. He's on to his third defensive coordinator. He's on to his second offensive line coach. His third defensive line coach. So I mean, that's the one thing is you can fire your coordinators, and that's kind of your scapegoat. At some point, you're going to run out of scapegoats. So I mean,
I mean, I'll be
hopefully
honest.
that
Mario
doesn't.
Cristobal did it at Miami, and look where they're at now.
Yeah, Josh Gaddis was not. That did not work out well.
no, no, neither did Charlie Strong as an
Yeah,
assistant. So
yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what's happened. There hasn't been in terms of like the Michigan fallout from a Nebraska perspective. I mean, there was some people hoping that they could get in with Matt Ludwig. I never thought that was
no, I
going to
think I
happen.
think Ludwig committed already to
He
somewhere.
did, yeah, he did Texas Tech, and that's what I thought was going to happen. Just
Garrett.
I just from being from in Montana, I knew some things, and so I knew that Texas Tech had put a big offer out there, and just with him, he was enrolling early, so it wasn't going to be a deal where he makes a lot of decisions unless he totally changes his perception. So I mean, they're a playoff team; they got a big offer on the table. So that to me, as soon as he decommitted from Michigan, I figured that's where he was going to go. Okay, thanks for the question, Mark, from YouTube. How many coaches has he fired at one point? Do we accept that maybe he's not up to the job? I mean, are we talking back to let's see, how many?
Probably Matt Rule.
His entire career. I mean, just with Nebraska, it's been he didn't really fire Satterfield. I would say he demoted him. So there was Satterfield. I mean, I don't know that he fired Tony White, but I'm not sure that
I don't
was.
think he
You know,
fired Tony White. I think it was
but
a loud mutual parting. I'll probably say.
so I mean, he fired John Butler. He fired Terry Braden. That's 2. He fired Ed Foley. Well, demoted, fired. I think it's the same thing. So he demoted Foley and Satterfield. He fired Braden and John Butler. So four guys essentially, but multiple coordinators at this. Every coordinator in the staff has been, either demoted or fired since. If you look at his original staff, his special teams coach demoted, defensive coordinator, left, and then the second one was fired, and his offensive coordinator demoted. So I mean, that's not great, but I mean, it's also like coaching changes are kind of par for the course. Like it just kind of happens. And so, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing or that that's the reason why, that they've lost. But I don't know. I mean, at some point, yeah, if Nebraska, if they win 4 games next year, and they don't maybe make a bowl game, don't bounce back the year after that, maybe. I mean, you can't sit here and say it takes forever to build a program, right? But I do think, but like Danny said, we're also not sitting here at 3-9. It'd be a lot different if Matt Rule was sitting here at 3 seasons of 3-9, being like, I'm still building this program. I mean, they
Yeah, I
have
was
made
gonna say, have
progress.
some people
So,
forgotten where we were before Matt Rule? Absolute
and
shit show.
and yeah, yes, and I mean, I know haven't technically, and what really sucks too,
What?
about the bowl because I was thinking we haven't improved our win total. We still have a chance to, but then you get Utah, which is also a very difficult opponent, and then just for the cherry on top, there, Kyle Whittingham decides he's going to step down, so he's making this like his last hurrah game with Utah. So they're going to be just like twice as motivated. Like if Utah wasn't motivated before, they are now. So it's like, cool, thanks guys. Just make this game even more challenging for
I've
Nebraska.
always loved Kyle Whittingham. I really, really have. He's a hell of a coach, and he was a hell of a coach, and it's going to be tough to see him go. I think college football is going to lose a great one. I've always really liked him.
It is interesting though. He said that he's stepped down. He's not retiring. So what does that mean? Like he's gonna step away for a couple of years and coach again? Like I just thought that was really interesting language because it's like, man, he's one of the best coaches out there. So if he's stepping down or if he steps away for like a year, who's to say somebody doesn't come after him again in a year or two?
Well, maybe he's angling this for a better job. Who knows? I don't know.
Maybe he's going to throw his hat in the ring for the Michigan job.
That would be a really good hire.
It would be. Yeah, he's probably too old, but yeah, that would be a good hire. I mean,
I'm just waiting for the Brian Kelly announcement. So Brian Kelly gets off the plane as a Michigan man with a nice Midwestern accent. I'm ready.
He sure tried, man. He was trying. Pete Nakos had him on the first. It was like the first update Pete Nakos did had Brian Kelly on there. I'm just like, God, no, that's not. And then you had Tommy Reese, who's out there.
I honestly
good on Tommy Reese's agents though for leaking that story to Mary Kay Cabot because it's like that's smart on you.
Terrible. I mean, anybody who plays for coaches the Cleveland Browns automatically suffers a career dip no matter what. And he did okay at Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. And Notre Dame, he was an assistant at Notre Dame before Alabama, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the OC at Notre Dame, and then he was the OC at Alabama in that 2023 season before Saban retired.
Yeah, okay.
So he'd be okay, but
yeah, I don't think.
But yeah, that's totally one where the him and Brian Kelly's agents are trying to leak their connections to Michigan.
Well,
like, that's not happening.
I mean, if getting Tommy Reese stops the potential Brian Kelly hiring, then I think maybe at that point I'd be all for it.
Well, yeah, I'd take Tommy Reese over Brian. I'd take anybody over Brian. I'd take Biff Poggi over Brian Kelly. Like no questions asked. I'd 100% would take him as the full-time coach over Kelly. Anyway,
no, this is all very relevant. This is a big move in college football, big move in the Big Ten with a lot of transfers coming up. So
yeah, it's going to be in the Bryce Underwood of it too, because that could have an impact on what the market's like for Dylan Raiola. And I don't, there's been a lot of talk about with Bryce and, whether he has a buyout or not, I don't know. But that's the thing is I don't think it matters. Like, even if he did have a buyout, like the buyout, if a team really wants him, they'll pay it. So like, I've always felt like as soon as this happened, that's whoever gets hired at Michigan, that's your first job is recruit Bryce Underwood back. You know what I mean? And if they get a guy like Kenny Dillingham, then I think there's a good chance that happens. James, thanks for the question. If Elijah Robinson comes to Nebraska, is there a chance Cameron Wilson will come with him? Probably not. I would guess not at this point, but it's possible. I mean, he could always ask out of his letter of intent and do that whole thing. I mean, position coaches do have a big impact. So, I mean, it's certainly possible, but probably would have been, if they could have got that done before signing day, maybe it would have been a better chance because it's just kind of hard to get, teams will let you out of your letter of intent, but I mean, who knows if he's got NIL and all that other stuff. So it gets a little more complicated, but it can happen. I wouldn't expect it though.
So is Matt Ludwig headed to Texas Tech because of the Garrett McGuire connection, do you think? Like, do you think that kind of spearheaded him going there?
No, I think it's just the best offer, honestly. And
Texas Tech is good. yeah, that too.
Yeah. They also, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I know that he's got a strong relationship with their tight ends coach. I don't know who that is off the top of my head, but I know they've had it because that was kind of the team that really was in contention besides Michigan. So I just think he probably reached out to him and was like, hey, do you guys still interested? Like, so, but I've heard from my people that the Texas Tech offered him like $800K. So, so I think on all avenues, you have that, you have them in the playoff, his relationship with the tight end coach. But yeah, it would have been awesome if Nebraska could have got him.
I think he would as in sort of a recruiter role, because this is the other thing that Matt Rule I think is doing a good job of realizing is that you can have a ton of coaches on staff and you don't really need to box yourself into a coach of that specific role. I felt that way when he hired Lonnie Teasley, although I don't know if that's been formally announced yet. I know Jeep was just announced yesterday, and that was a week ago, so maybe next week they'll formally announce Teasley. But, I think with a lot of these staff hires, it's going to be based off of who can recruit and, who can help position-wise. But I think you're going to see a lot more or some more analysts than you did last year. So I think in that way, Phil Simpson could stick around and they could pay him probably pretty decent money to be a recruiter for Florida.
Yeah, I think he'll probably stick around. I mean, I know they gave him some sort of like position, like analyst kind of, like coaching players too. So he did do some coaching as well as recruiting. So I think that's kind of how they got him away from Florida State a little bit. So, I mean, I'd be surprised if they let him go. Just like you said, you have so many you have so many extra coaches and, he is a dynamic recruiter in the state of Florida. So to me, like he's got value there. So I'd be surprised if he wasn't on the staff with the new defensive coordinator.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm so happy, and I don't know if this is just my imagination. I mean, you can kind of chime in here too on this with what you think, but it seems like Matt Rule is finally just hiring staff members that will help recruit and kind of, get talent to the team, whereas they're not just hired for specific positions and that's it.
Yeah, no, I think he's doing a good job with the staff that he's building. And it's a recruiting thing, but I mean, because that's like you have to coach your position and develop talent, but you also need to be able to get, big time players. So I like that he's being decisive, and yeah, we'll see, how it all plays out. But he's definitely not, I feel like he's not worried about what other people, their feelings, and I think that's important.
So did you hear this thing about 1890? Like, I don't want to say closing, but they're shutting down, and the NIL has moved in-house. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty pretty standard now that you've got the rev share thing going on. I think it's those things are, I think rev share and NIL have kind of got combined. So I think it kind of probably makes sense for them to do that.
So do you think we'll see a shift away from collectives with this NIL and rev sharing?
Yeah, collectives are becoming less and less of a thing, I think. So they'll probably still be out there, but I think they'll just kind of morph back into, boosters giving money the way they used to a little bit. So I mean, I don't think it'll change a ton. But it'll just have a little bit of a different structure.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought that was interesting. I know some people had issues with 1890 early on, but they came through, last year and even a year and a half ago or so. So they did their job.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think they'd have Raiola and some of these other guys, if they hadn't had those resources. Isn't that what the old AD wanted, and everyone ripped in for it when Rule got here and pushed 1890? I don't exactly remember what Trev wanted potentially. It just seemed like Trev wasn't really that into NIL, so I don't.
Yeah.
I can't say that I remember, can speak, that intelligently about what Trev Alberts wanted. I just know that it seemed like he was kind of hindering NIL. So, but maybe that is what Trev wanted. I'm not sure.
He just wasn't very involved, like invested. Like personally, I felt in NIL. Like the way the NIL game has kind of increased when Dannon got here, like that made me realize that whoa, Trev really didn't do a ton when it came to NIL at all.
Yeah, it just seemed like he was more, conservative in it, and I don't know, maybe he didn't want it to be, such a transactional thing, but that's just what it is. It's a transactional world.
Sorry, Chris, if you want to go back to the BS of Scott Frost, I mean, be my guest. I mean, I don't know.
So here's what marks. So year 3 is a farce. I am not trying to be negative, but I feel like I am on a car lot, like the man fine, but BS is BS. He reminds me of Mike Riley.
I mean 9-win seasons. Like, I think at some point we got to realize that, Nebraska may not be like 11-1 or 12-0, and there is a certain ceiling with the program. And I know that we could probably, even make the college football playoff, but, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the criticism on Rule is kind of misplaced given that we have had 2 consecutive winning seasons and 2 bowl games, and if we get rid of him, then, you know, I don't know. I just I disagree with the whole notion that Matt Rule is on the hot seat after what he's done the last 2 years. Now, if next year, kind of crashes down, then we can have a real conversation about that. But as of right now, I don't really get the criticism compared to what we've been, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's hard because I mean they were sitting there in the USC game and they were 6-2 and they had the lead. And if Dylan doesn't get hurt in that game,
Yeah.
I feel like they have a pretty good chance to win. And so then you're 7-2, you've beaten USC, you're probably ranked. If you beat USC, you're
Yeah.
probably at least in that top 25. Then you
So
beat
you're like
UCLA,
probably 23 or so, I'd say.
and then it's a whole different. You beat you beat UCLA. Excuse me, and then you go into those last 2 games against Penn State and Iowa. And it would have been different with Dylan. I mean, we definitely got out in front of our skis with the UCLA game because they suck. Their defense is terrible, and TJ Lateef looked great in that game. He did, but we overreacted to that performance from him, thinking that he was farther along than he was. And then when you played Penn State and Iowa again, we weren't really able to see the full TJ because he got hurt. But I just feel like things could have gone a different way. And if they had beaten USC, like it would have been really hard to say that they didn't take a leap this year because they would have at least got 8 wins. They would have beaten a ranked team. They would have gotten kind of that marquee victory. They would have been in the playoff rankings in November. And to me, that's what the third-year leap was going to be. That's all I wanted. I never expected them to leap into the playoffs. I expected them to hopefully leap into playoff conversation, which is to me being ranked in November. If you're ranked in November, you're at least part of that kind of conversation a little bit. And so I understand, like, I think it's hard to say that year 3 is a farce because and I get that, yeah, the offensive line probably played a role in Dylan Raiola getting hurt and all that type of stuff.
Absolutely did. And I always think it's not funny, haha, funny, but that his own uncle's offensive line was so bad that he got his nephew hurt. Like, I don't know.
It's also like, if the kid doesn't do that, that tackle that's basically outlawed in the NFL and the hip drop, and he did it to Raiola, it's just like, I mean, I understand. Like, I've been disappointed I'm not going to say that I was happy with year 3. I definitely wasn't happy with the way the season ended, but neither was Matt Rule. I mean, he's made major changes. He fired his defensive coordinator, 2 or 3 days after the game. So I think he knows that this year wasn't good enough, and especially the way that the defense played. I think that was the most disappointing thing. And if I'll say this, the one thing that's disappointed me the most about Matt Rule from the day he was hired is I truly thought that he was going to fix the offensive and defensive lines, and that just hasn't happened yet. Now, hopefully it will, and it does take time. It does take time to build things in the trenches, like, and you want to look at our 2027 recruiting class is looking really good. Like, okay, those guys aren't going to really play and make an impact until 2028 and 2029. Okay, so we need to be patient and let this thing play out a little bit. And yeah, if Matt Rule has back-to-back 3 or 4 win seasons, he's going to get fired. That's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening. So, like sometimes sometimes progress just doesn't come as fast as you want it to. And Iowa, the Penn State team, okay, I don't think that Penn State by then was a team in turmoil. Like, I think that people, it's like, man, you look at Penn State and what did they do this year? Like, okay, they almost beat, a really good Oregon team. And yeah, you want to say whatever about their defense, but they only gave up 17 points to Oregon in regulation. I mean, how many teams have done that this year?
Yeah.
They had Indiana on the ropes. I mean, if it wasn't for a miracle touchdown pass, Indiana might have lost that game. Iowa needed like a late field goal to beat Penn State in Iowa. So, I mean, they had the one bad performance was the UCLA game, I'll say. But even Northwestern, man, like Northwestern's not a bad team. So, like, I mean, I just feel like after the whole Franklin thing happened, like they've beaten a lot of really good teams. So, and Iowa did kill us, but we also didn't have a quarterback in the second half. And, I mean, it's just, but again, if you have Raiola, I feel like those 2 games are still a lot different. So, I mean, and I know he's not perfect. I know that he has warts and he needs to get better. Like, whether if he does come back this year, he still needs to get better. And I think that's part of, I do like that's, it's like, hey man, we fired your uncle. Like, there is accountability within this program. And I just feel like that maybe there wasn't as much of that as there needed to be.
Cincinnati, I think, is our best win. And especially when you look at what they're able to do the rest of the way. I mean, they did struggle towards the end of the season, but I think Cincinnati's our best one.
Yeah, I'd say Cincinnati. Our lines look like a Big 12 team's lines. I mean, yeah, I can't necessarily disagree with that one, Mark. That's why we haven't won as many. That's why every time we play a team like Iowa or Minnesota or Michigan, we get exposed. But how do you
We had
fix that?
Michigan on the ropes. I still I wish we could have had that Michigan game back.
Yeah, they should have. There was a lot of plays to be made in that game. But yeah, it's hard to win when you give up 300 yards rushing too. So Northwestern is our best Big Ten win though. That's like you look at Matt Rule's 3-year record in the Big Ten. He's only beaten the only team he's beaten with a winning record in Big Ten play that finished with a winning record in Big Ten play is Northwestern. So that does need to change. Like that can't be your best win in conference play. You know what I mean? Like they've got to start beating some teams. I don't know how much anybody really wants to talk about. I did want to try to talk about Nebraska, Illinois today. If anybody has a mind for talking hoop, we can still talk football if you guys want. But I do think this is going to be a really interesting game for Nebraska. A really strong Illinois team. They're 8-2. 13th in the AP poll. They got Peja Stojakovic, his kids. He's pretty good. They always got a ton of talent in Illinois. They shoot the heck out of the ball. Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome back in the day.
Him and Vlade Divac towards the end of his career, I believe, were on the same Sacramento Kings team.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. So yeah, just a really good test. I mean, this would definitely be, Nebraska doesn't have any quad one wins yet. This definitely would be that. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there a little bit. It's been really fun to watch this team grind. I've really been impressed with how they've just kind of embraced who they are defensively.
Yeah, and I've been impressed with how, despite being a team built from the transfer portal, they look very much in sync with each other. Like this is a group that really looks like they've been together for 4 years. And so, when you look at just the wide range of talent, you have Berkey, who may not shoot it great at times, but is an absolute beast on the boards. You have Sam Hoiberg, who is a tremendous defender and can make those, dirt dog type of plays. Like I don't know if you remember Walter McCarty, the old Boston Celtic back in the day, but he reminds me a lot of Walter McCarty, and I'm probably dating myself with that reference, but who the hell cares? And then you have even I was impressed with the kid Jared Garcia who played. I thought he played really well in terms of getting in the paint and getting those minutes, and you just have a variety of guys with a bunch of different skill sets. I love Price Sanford. He was the best addition out of the transfer portal, I think. And you also have guys on the bench like Kendall Blue, who we haven't really seen a ton of. So very deep team, and they're a lot of fun to watch. And I think that depth is going to come in handy big time come Big Ten play, like the full Big Ten slate in January.
Yeah, I definitely like their depth. Yeah, Fred's just a good coach. He just knows how to coach ball. And then you have, Rank, and Lawrence was here, and Hoiberg. So yeah, you got a lot of guys I feel like that just fit well together. And the thing I like about Price and Fragers, they're just really good basketball players, and I feel like they have high IQ. So Nebraska's doing a really great job defensively. It's going to be another big test. So you look at this Illinois team. They have 6 players who are averaging at least 1.3 3-point field goals per game. So it's pretty similar to what we saw against Wisconsin. The 3-point defense was really good in that game, and they've done a much better job testing. And I think the length of guys like, Sanford and Frager and has really helped. And I don't know what it is. Just they're playing with more defensive intensity, it feels like to me. So
yeah.
I mean,
they're doing a much better job on their closeouts. I feel like that. Granted, they had a couple leaks early in the game against Wisconsin, but I feel like by and large throughout the season they've been playing a lot better defensively.
The guy that was bleeding, that's Berkey. Berkey Buchtenjel, I think.
Buchtenjel? I thought it was
Buchtenjel.
Okay.
No, it's Buchtenjel.
I definitely believe you. That just means to me that I've been pronouncing his name wrong this whole time. So
I think I still am pronouncing it wrong, probably. I don't know. I really try to listen on the broadcast, and then when Kent does his, I try to listen, and I think it's Berke Buktinja, I think, but I don't know. I could be totally wrong.
what's Oogie?
So
Oogie Eurysophagus?
yeah, how you said it. I can't say it.
Eurysophagus.
Yeah, Oogie. High IQ, veteran players, yeah, and they can shoot, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, like Bryce Sanford, we talked about it, but man, like he was 2 of 6 from 3, made all of his 2-point attempts the other night. Nebraska shot 71% on 2-pointers against Wisconsin, and Wisconsin shot like 45%. So, I mean, yeah, like that's Berkey, his length too. Like him and Rank are doing a really good job defensively. And they're not a team that like blocks a lot of shots, but they're affecting shots, and they really collapsed their defense, and it hurt them last year because they weren't, like you said, contesting shots as well, but their contests have been a lot better. And so it's like, if teams want to take a 30% shot a lot, then it's like, go for it, so that's kind of where it's at.
And I feel like Berkey's kind of found a role, and I don't know if you feel this way too, but I felt like at times last year he didn't really know what his role was. Now I feel like he's doing a much better job of fitting in as kind of like that rebounder who can also score, but kind of that gritty player who cleans things up on the glass. I don't know if you feel that way too, but that's what
I think he plays better next to Mass than he's still kind of developing himself as a player, and so I think maybe they just expected a little too much offensively from him last year, and tried to kind of have him beat. So I think he's and Rink just makes things Rink Mass just makes things work for everybody. He's the impact he has in the game really doesn't show up in the box, or even though he's like the leading scorer and rebounder every game. I mean, his playmaking ability, the way he's played defense, it's just been
his like, post scoring ability.
He can score in the post, like he can pick and pop. He can bring the ball up the floor, like he can facilitate offense. He's a very solid defender, a solid defensive rebounder. He basically does everything but block a ton of shots. I mean, like he's just a really good all-around player, and I'm wondering if like I kind of think he might have a chance to make it in the NBA. It's not going to be easy, but just guys that can, there's been guys like him who have made it before, like not like a superstar type player, but guy off the bench who can rebound, can guard 4s and 5s, can hit 3s, like he can just do. In the NBA game is such pick and pop. It's so much of that ball screen type of game. So. But anyway, I feel like
who's playing really well in the NBA right now is Bryce McGowens.
Yeah, he is playing well. I've seen some good stuff from Bryce Williams too in the G League, but yeah.
Yeah, no, McGowens had 23 points the other night, and then he had 15 points and 16 points against Minnesota and Brooklyn on December 4th and 6th, and he's playing at a high level right now.
So, what do you? What's your prediction here for this Nebraska Illinois today? Illinois 9th in the Ken Palm, Nebraska 27th. Just obviously Illinois' favorite. I don't know exactly by how much, but
I feel like 90 to 82 Illinois, but this is a good Illinois team. If we lost today, I wouldn't be overly upset. I would obviously want to win, but I don't feel like this is a good. Oh, thanks, Mark. I mean, then you might not be watching all the Husker shows out there if you think that, but we appreciate it. We're just a bunch of fans trying to make sense of all this. But 90-82 Illinois. But I think it's going to be a close game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Nebraska upset because for all of Matt Rule's troubles beating ranked teams, it seems like Fred Hoiberg can beat ranked teams pretty well when push comes to shove. So it's the duality of sports right there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say I'd see him losing a close game. Pretty similar, like I'll say like 85-80, but it wouldn't shock me if they win this game at all. I definitely think I just looked at the line. It's 10.5. Like if I was a bettor, I might take that bet.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this team's going to, it's just going to be fun though. When's the last time Nebraska played a top 25 game, in basketball or in any men's sport? Like if we're talking about football or basketball. Yeah, probably, so.
Well, I mean, football did for a brief poof of time last year, I think.
I guess, if you count the coaches poll, we were ranked in that Indiana game. So we did have one last year. So
the Indiana game, the
56-3, 56-7, Kurt, that's when everyone was like, oh yeah, this Kurt Signani guy, he knows what he's doing. So honestly, that'd be kind of fun. I do hope they win the national championship though. Like I honestly do. That'd be cool.
For the basketball team? or the
Well,
football
yeah,
team?
obviously. I'm talking about Indiana football. I,
Oh,
I want I want Indiana to win the national
oh,
title.
I thought you're saying us. I'm like, whoa. I don't know if
Hell
we
yeah,
could
I
get
would love that, but but I'll take one. Did you see that the John Rothstein said if Nebraska wins an
Yep.
NCAA tournament game,
I don't
he
think
said he will
he
fly to Omaha or Nebraska and he will put his credit card at a bar and for an entire hour for
that
happy
is
hour for Nebraska fans.
dangerous.
So
I don't think he realizes our capabilities, Chris.
that could be dangerous. Like, what's your limit on your credit card? That's what I'm wondering. How
I
many?
don't
How
know.
many? You
John
know?
Rothstein's probably got like the platinum card or whatever, like the highest one you can get.
Yes, he's got the pretty. Probably got a pretty good limit on that. I'm just wondering, like how much notice are you going to give people for the bar, and then But if you went to it like that, could rack up quickly. So that'll be interesting to see if he actually follows through on that.
If we win today, it's a guaranteed quad one win, and because I don't see Illinois dropping to where they wouldn't
No,
be. So that would be a nice. And I do think we have other quad one wins on schedule. Like I feel like Wisconsin could potentially be one as the year develops. I feel like yeah, Kansas State has kind of struggled a little bit, but maybe Oklahoma. I don't know. We have had some good wins, and I know fans. So some of them don't think they're good, and some of them think that we played easy games, but I feel like we have had some good wins on the schedule.
yeah, they've beaten quite a few top 100 teams. It's just if you beat a top 75 team on the road, it's a quad one win. If you beat them on a neutral floor, it's a quad two. So I mean, they've got like 3 or 4 quad two wins. No quad ones yet, but they'll get their chance because a top 75 team on the road is a quad one win, and they'll have plenty of chances for that in the Big Ten. So
And
even some of the
honestly,
teams.
we're 10-0, and what do you need? Probably to make the NCAA tournament 20 wins.
Yeah, I would say 20. That's what Danny Nee used to always go for back in the day. The maybe the best Nebraska coach of all time up to this point. But I think that Fred Hoiberg, when he's all said and done, I think he's going to go down as the best Nebraska coach of all time because he's going to win some NCAA tournament games. Eventually, I truly believe Fred Hoiberg will get us to the Sweet 16. I'm not saying like this year, but I do think he honestly is such a good coach. Like he can get this team to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. I don't think they can get anything beyond that. But if you get Nebraska basketball to the Sweet 16, like you might as well hang a banner for that because that seems like to me that equates to like winning a national title.
Honestly, he's recruited so well without even winning an NCAA tournament game. If we got to the Sweet 16, we'd be bringing in some big time guys.
Yeah, and I mean if he can keep all these guys, develop them, and because people are starting to realize Fred Hoiberg can coach. So
There were
he's
times
always
where I
been a
wanted him
guy.
gone. I got to say, there were times like I remember 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, I wanted him gone. But I'm glad Trev at the time didn't listen to me. So
Yeah, it was kind of like, man, if it's not going to work with Fred, who's it going to work with?
well, I feel
So
like I
you
kind of
know,
feel like that way about Matt Rule too. I don't know because I remember going into the year, we were like, hey, if it's not going to work with Dylan, then what are we going to do? And now we might find out. Who the hell knows? But, but
yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean, I understand. I definitely understand that, but I do think if they moved on from Rule, I think that there's some good coaches out there, like my guy Kenny Dillingham. Somebody, just, but I still have faith in that Rule. I haven't
I
lost
do so.
complete faith. Like, yes, I'm not gonna lie. I thought the program would be farther along in year three
Yeah.
than it is right now, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, it is what it is. Could be better, could be worse. So on that note, I think it's a good point to end the stream here. So,
We're going to talk about
yeah.
volleyball a little bit, maybe a
Oh
little.
yeah, we should talk. Yeah, we did talk about him a little bit, but so yeah, and we'll get a chance to see Trev on Sunday, so that'll be kind of fun.
We saw Trev. We saw actually, didn't we see Trev Friday too? I think. I saw
Yeah, we did.
him
Yeah,
and
and
Daniel talking together.
the Aggies pulled off the reverse sweep, so let them have their fun. They'll play a real
Yeah,
team
I
on
had no idea
Saturday.
what
Lots
was
of fun, but
happening, but I did see that, and
yeah,
and that the Texas A&M game was kind of more interesting than the Nebraska game. I was sitting there watching, and again, I don't know anything about volleyball, but the ladies just make it look so easy. I mean, Kansas didn't even belong on the same court with that group, so.
yeah. It's Andy Jackson, man. When she came out with 4 blocks in the first 8 points, it was like you have no shot. It was like I mean, when you can't even hit the ball over the net, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. It was like, okay, you just aren't going to score on us, no matter what you do. I mean, gosh, who was it? Olivia Mock. I mean, she kicked the ball over the net at one point. I didn't even know you could do that. Like, I mean, obviously there's no rule against it, but I've never seen that before. I've never seen the ball like soccer kicked over the net like that. That's just how, like, this team, they fight so hard for every, it doesn't, they could be up 20-5 and like, they will not let the ball hit the ground. Like, they'll give their left arm to not let the ball hit the ground on defense. And that's why they win the way they do. But yeah, and I expect the same exact thing. Texas A&M has zero chance of winning this game. I know that I'm definitely like, tempting the gods and whatever, but like this, there's just no way Nebraska's losing on their home court. Now, whatever happens in the Final Four, like that's a different story, but they ain't losing on Sunday. I bet my left nut on that. Like there's just no way. This team is so incredible. Like yeah, not really, but you know what I mean? Like there's no chance. There's no chance they're losing. I really don't think there's a chance they're losing the champ. I mean, this team now they've played the last 24 matches. They've played 73 sets. They've lost one. They're 72-1 in their last 73 sets.
We'll clip it, Cole. I'll make sure he clips it for us. I'll make sure he clips it. And when football season starts, we're gonna clip and we're gonna say that you bet your left nut on any Nebraska sports. So
yeah,
you only need
just this one particular match, because I just don't. That'll be the biggest upset I've ever seen.
You only need one anyway. So, I don't know.
That's true. So, I've already got 2 kids, so they've already been put to some use. So,
honey, I'm betting my left nut on Nebraska sports. Sorry.
But yeah, that's
done. Although she likes volleyball, so she'll get it.
I wouldn't make that bet on the Las Vegas Bowl though. Like I'm feeling very, like I was sort of feeling confident in taking Nebraska to cover, but after the Kyle Whittingham news, now I'm like, oh god.
No, I'm already driving the Jeep to the transfer portal and thinking about next season. We have no shot in the Las Vegas Bowl. Utah is going to make our run defense look like me in my wheelchair. That's what's going to happen. And then just sitting there lying, doing nothing like a vegetable, and they're going to rush for 500 yards. And yeah, that's.
I think they are going to beat us, but I think they are going to. I'm going to say that our run defense is going to be better. Like I think I don't know if they're going to get. They probably will get 200 yards, but it's not going to be as easy. Like I think these guys are going to, just play with a little more fire. You know what I mean?
So interesting. Listening to Phil Snow. Did you catch Phil Snow's press conference yesterday?
I did catch some of that.
It was like, where was this with John Butler? Like, you're supposed to oversee him. We did not see any of what you were saying.
Just no energy. Yeah, low energy.
Butler's defense. Like, we did not see that energy with John. No. So either the message didn't get through or, like, John just did his own thing. I don't know.
Some people just aren't, some people know coaching and they know X's and O's, but they're just not, like, leader of men. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that John Butler's not that guy, but like when you're in college, like college is just different from the NFL, and like because when you're in the NFL, when you're in the NFL, that raw crap doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't. Like they know they're there for a job. They're there to do a job. Like I get that it does sometimes. Like there's rivalries and things like that. But like when you're in college, like that stuff still works, and you need to do that stuff. Like you need to be like all the best coaches that I've ever were those guys who were just like it seemed like they drank like 4 Red Bulls before they even woke up. You know what I mean? Like and I feel like Rob Orich is that kind of guy based off of things that, and actually I have a really interesting story from Rob Orich. Not that it's great, but I was talking with one of the coaches I know here in Montana, and he actually was at a coach's clinic when he was at Idaho, when Rob Orich was still at Idaho, and he said that Rob Orich stayed out with him drinking until 6 a.m. So that's my guy, baby. That's my DC right there.
Honestly, and I've seen this comparison made a lot, but I do have to agree with it. He reminds me a lot of Miami's Corey Heffernan. He reminds me like that same sort of high, intense energy type of guy. And I will say from the Miami perspective that Heffernan came in and completely changed the defensive culture, the defensive style, the defensive intensity. So I'm hoping that happens here as well. But I definitely see the parallels between those two. So if we get a Corey Heffernan 2.0, then I'll be very happy. That'd be a great move. And
he
does have a lot of energy. Like that's the other thing, Mark. He does have a lot of energy. And I was listening to his press conference, and like I could barely like stand up. And meanwhile, Phil Snow is up there spitting into the microphone, fired up about talking about defense. I'm like, damn, I need some of what Phil Snow's having.
And I'm glad we got Phil Snow like on the staff. I don't want him calling the plays,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's nice to have somebody like that who's got experience, and because players like guys like that, honestly. Like, and so yeah,
Yeah, they like coaches who are invested like they are. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and yeah, John, like that's like you have to be. You do have to be careful with NFL guys because they get so used to what their NFL players can do, and it's like college guys can't do what
yeah,
NFL guys can do,
yeah.
and so you have to
Chip
you have
Kelly.
to teach it.
Um,
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So yeah, it's hopefully I think we did get a really good hire in the DC. I really believe that.
I'm
So
excited about Roy Manning too. Honestly, I really am. I mean, to see what he can do with Williams Noweri. I mean,
yeah,
hello, sign me
yeah,
up.
Noweri, yeah, they got some other they got some talented guys. I think we'll get some help in the portal. So yeah, maybe we'll focus on that Monday. But it's kind of hard though until we know what's going on with Dylan Raiola too, because if he's out, then QB moves up to I think a pretty big spot on the need list.
I think it all depends on what Dom demanded and if they can meet those demands. And I hate to say it like that, but I really feel that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's
He couldn't stick up for his brother, but maybe he was even like, "All right, I know this is bad. Let's go. You injured my son. I can't defend you anymore. We gotta go. You gotta go."
yeah. I mean, it's tough. Yeah,
Yeah,
lots of
I'm looking
things,
at
lots of things changing.
Andrew Sprague, a lot of Michigan men in the portal. So we'll
We'll
see.
see, man. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if because his offensive line coach is still there. So I mean, I don't know. I really don't know how it's going to work out. It could be a lot. It could be. That's why I think they need to get like if I was Michigan, I would not worry about trying to get Kalen DeBoer because right now it seems like the two main targets are Kalen DeBoer and Kenny Dillingham, and I would just not even because like I just don't think he's going to leave Alabama for one thing, and two, then you're waiting on what happens in the playoff game because if they win that playoff game, then you're waiting then you can't hire him. Like if they win that first playoff game, you can't hire him because you cannot wait until the portal opens to hire a coach. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
It can't happen. It's got to be done this week, in my opinion. So, like, I think Kenny Dillingham wants it. I mean, everybody like there's a reason why, um, you know, all these guys are pushing him, Pickle and Josh Pate and all these. Like, I feel like it's I feel it. And then he's a great quarterback guy. Everywhere he's went, he's had success with quarterbacks. He coached under Dan Lanning. Like honestly, if Matt Rule went to Penn State, he would have been number one choice for me for Nebraska because I don't know. I could be totally wrong about him, but I get a lot of Dusty May vibes from Kenny Dillingham. That's
Instead, Penn State made their splash hire with Soupy, which honestly, I was talking to my
which
Penn State friends and they were not, and they were kind of like meh. They were not happy on it.
I I think that he'll surprise some people. I still think that's a good hire. I think for as poorly as they handled that process, I still think they got the second best head coach of the cycle behind Lane Kiffin. Like
Yeah.
who else is like? I mean, Florida got the Tulane guy.
Brian
I mean, I know
Hartline.
Matt.
Honestly, I think Brian
Yeah,
Hartline at USF is
USF
going to
would be
be really
interesting,
good.
but yeah, I don't know. I've always liked Matt Campbell, and I like guys that can do more with less, and there's not much doing more with less than winning the way he has at Iowa State. I mean, that, like you talk about programs with nothing, like that was legitimately one of the worst programs in college football before he got there. And he
Mhm.
got them to multiple conference championship games. They've been ranked numerous times. They've beaten ranked teams. I know it's like, yeah, can he take the steps and do what James Franklin did? I don't know, but they're not going to be a bad program. Like they're going to win a lot of games with him as the head coach. So we'll
So,
see.
so you think Campbell's the best hire of this coaching carousel so far?
Outside of Lane Kiffin, yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Until Michigan hires Kenny Dillingham, then
Or hires Brian Kelly. I'm speaking Brian Kelly into existence.
I know I don't care. It's not happening. I won't let it happen.
You will let it happen.
I,
You
I, won't- I
have
won't
a
let it
partner
happen.
probably. So
You're right. Brian Kelly's such an asshole. He won't let it happen. So
Brian Kelly, Michigan Man 2.0.
they do need to get away from the Michigan man thing. So
Well, it's the
they
same
need
problem
to.
Nebraska had for years, and so
And
So we got
that's
it.
that's another reason I like Kenny Dillingham, is not just because of his coaching acumen, but I every time I see that guy talk or I hear him talk, I love what he says. I love that when his players leave in the transfer portal, he requotes he quote tweets their announcements, and it's like, this is a great player. You're going to be getting an awesome guy, like even his starting quarterback who's leaving. How many coaches do that? How many coaches sit there and are like, most of the time they're scrubbing the player's page off the school website before 10 minutes after the announcement. And
You
this
see
guy is
Wayne
sitting
did it
there.
with I think it was Golding. He said like this is a great move, and people were kind of upset. I'm like, I don't know.
I really like that. And then, he said that even if guys were entered in the portal, he still would let them play in the bowl game. He's like, this is the 2025 season. This is still their team. And so, like, I'm just like, yeah, that's how it should be, because college football, this is a two-way relationship. This isn't players quitting on teams. Coaches quit on teams all the time. So, like, I just think that he gets it. I think he's a great leader. I think he's a good quarterback coach. I think he would get Bryce Underwood to stay. And I think if you get Bryce Underwood to stay, I think most of the team's going to stay. So
I'm excited for Bob Chesney, hired first at Salve Regina, who my college played, and we played in scrimmage. Went down street to Assumption, then to Holy Cross, then went to James Madison. So I'm excited to see a local guy in the Big Ten for once. That'll be cool. That's really, really cool. It's been cool to
I
follow him.
I really do like him. He's actually one of my favorite hires of the cycle too.
Yeah, there was a lot of buzz
I get
around him coming out of Worcester. Like even when
yeah.
I was there, he's like, "Damn, this Holy Cross coach is really good. He's probably not going to be here long." He ended up being, he ended up leaving Assumption my junior year, and then he was at Holy Cross my senior year. And I mean, there was just so much buzz around him and how good he was with what little. I don't want to say little as in the players were bad, but local schools aren't necessarily have the most exposure. So he did really well with what he had, and I'm so glad he's getting a national shot now. And people will get to see the type of talent that he brings to the table, and I think he'll be able to recruit really well too.
I think he will too. He's going to be a good coach. And yeah, I think
I
we'll
agree,
lose
Mark.
a few
New
players,
rule
but
on the podcast. I agree. Mark says no
no.
McChicken, and I agree. Although we might have to talk
What's
about
the
that.
McChicken? I don't get the McChicken. What's the McChicken reference?
Michigan.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But we might have to because we might get some of their players hopefully soon. So
I mean, I feel like it's relevant, just because it's a big thing happening. But yeah, if Andrew Sprague gets the portal, then I would say Nebraska has a good shot at him. And I did want to mention his question. Yeah, I think we'll probably lose some players, but I mean, outside of Dylan, is there anybody that we're going to lose that's really meaningful? I don't know. Hopefully, we don't
Harding,
lose him
maybe.
either. Nah, maybe. But I mean, that's the thing. Portal's a two-way street. You can lose guys and add guys. So it is what it is.
Can I just ask you one more Michigan question, and then because I've heard this and I'm not sure what to make of it, but what's the deal with Ernest Hausman? Like I heard that he disappeared or something. Like
Yeah, I don't know everything that happened, but apparently he got some like revelation from God that he has some like special powers that he believes. That's what he told the coaching staff, that he got a
are you being
mess.
serious?
Yeah, I'm being dead
Okay.
serious. I'm 100% serious. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, some of this is like unverified, so I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not trying to but that's essentially he put out something that said like he got a message from God and that he tried to like communicate that to the team, and like they didn't support him. And what I've heard, this is like message board stuff, but that
Yep.
he was like, saying he got these like, godly powers and all this type of stuff. So I mean, like whatever. I do think like, if Jesus lived today, people would probably put him in an insane asylum. So like I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not gonna
I
say
would
that
agree.
so I'm not gonna comment either way, but
Yeah.
that is what
I just,
happened. It
I just,
was
yeah, I heard something to that effect too, and I'm just like, this doesn't sound believable. I don't know if it's just message board fodder or someone's trying to slander him, but I had heard like, do you think it was like a mission type thing, like Caitlin Bear went on, or like
potentially. I mean, he did go on he has done a lot in Africa in his home. I think he's from the Congo, I want to say. I could be wrong on that. But
interesting?
so I don't know. I know that he also was dealing with the hand injury. So, yeah, I think he just, going through some things. And I think that maybe,
Yeah,
Michigan coaches thought it was like a mental health problem. And he's like, I'm communicating with the Lord. So I don't know exactly. I feel like he felt unsupported by the staff. So it sounds like he's going to try to play in the future and like in the NFL potentially, because he did have another message. And that's what I took from it. But I don't know. Either way, I just hope,
Michigan. Well,
the
and
best for him.
honestly, not even being funny here, Michigan hasn't been the best at addressing mental health problems in the past couple of days. So who knows?
No, I mean, it
Yeah,
hasn't. Yeah, it's not been good. So,
yeah.
but
Nebraska's
anyway,
best player stolen from Michigan's best player stolen from Nebraska is MIA. I mean, true.
is MI, what does that mean?
Missing in action.
Oh,
Missing. Yeah, I guess I can't
oh
say
gosh, gotcha. I
it.
could,
I
I
guess
did not. I'm slow. I think my blood sugar's getting
you need
low.
coffee.
And yeah, but yeah, that he, yeah, so he didn't play in the Ohio State game, which was interesting. But I mean, it's whatever, man. Like
Yeah,
I don't begrudge play. Like if a player, plays his entire career and is like, I'm sick of football. Like football's hard, man. Like it's hard every single day to.
yeah.
Like I remember high school, I got sick of practice, so I can only imagine what these guys go through. So if somebody, is like like with Andrew Luck, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I
Luke
have no
Kuechly.
problem with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's hard. So I'm not doing it. I'm sitting here watching on my couch.
Aaron
So
Donald.
like,
Yep.
yeah. So I don't, but I do wish the best for Ernest Hausman, though,
Yeah,
whatever
absolutely.
that may be.
I just
So
wanted to
he's
find
just
out more on that story because I heard it and it sounded like not. I don't want to say crazy, but it sounded like a interesting story, and I just wanted to make sure it was realistic or
yeah, not something you. There's been things happening in Michigan that you don't experience every week. So whatever.
yeah.
Just gotta. That's why they just gotta get. They just gotta. I feel like, I mean, whatever's happened with Sharon Moore has happened. Like it's not going to get worse from this point. Like he's going to have his hearing.
Yeah.
He's going to do his thing. Like I feel like the worst from a PR perspective has happened. Like I mean, how could it get worse than that? So now you move forward, get somebody else in there as soon as possible, and turn the page, and then who knows? Like a few weeks, maybe this won't even be a topic of
Yeah.
conversation. I think it is going to come back up, but I do think, as crazy as it is, I think that this could actually be long term something that was better for Michigan, because I don't think Sharon Moore was a very good coach. I don't think he was gonna, like, there was already rumblings of Bryce wanting to leave already because Sharon Moore was letting him throw 5 passes and a half. So like I get it's horrible. I don't ever want anything like this to happen. It's a black eye for the
Yeah.
school. It looks terrible. It's going to look terrible. But from a pure football perspective, like, I mean, this dude last year against Indiana, they had a game. They had 3 timeouts in a minute 50. Pretty basic knowledge. Indiana ran a run play, and then he didn't call a timeout for 30 seconds. He just doesn't know what he's doing, and he's probably DMing OnlyFans models during the Ohio State game. I don't know
No,
if that's true, but
is
that's
that real? Okay, I was gonna say, is that really?
oh no. I mean, I want to see the receipts. No one has the receipts, but I'm just like, my God, like it
In
looked like
today's day
it.
and age, there's gotta be receipts.
I'm sure somebody, yeah, like, can I see it? Because it's just like, I don't know, man. So, but the crazy thing though, yeah, sorry we've gone down, but like before he was hired, people were saying like he was following like 300 OnlyFans models on Instagram,
Oh,
and so that's where I'm kind of disappointed. Like
you gotta
he
have a
did
burner
this,
account or something, man. Like that people look at this stuff and you can see who you follow. Come on,
but
man.
but the disappointment, but nobody at the school took the time to do the basic steps of looking through the guy's social media before you give him a multi-million-dollar contract. I mean, to me, that's pretty piss poor.
Yeah,
I feel
and
like,
people
I
are
mean, it
calling
would
for
not
War
have,
Manual to be gone, and between the signs and this, there has been things have been a little
there's
wild
been,
at Michigan.
he can be fired in like 6 months. We need him for like 2 more weeks to hire the next coach. So that's
I
my
don't even
stance.
think he
Because
needed two more weeks.
if you fire
Oh,
him, yeah, because
Ward, okay.
yeah,
I thought it
Ward,
was
yeah,
Sharon. I'm like,
no, because like if you fire Ward now, then you're waiting around. Then you're either doing an interim AD or you're waiting around for the AD. So like just like let Ward do whatever.
I mean, hey,
But
we did
like
that. We extended contracts with an interim AD. I don't
yeah,
remember who it was.
triple check his work. Maybe check the Instagram account of the next coach you hire. I don't know. This all could have been avoided probably. So yeah,
uh,
some things. They've had a lot of other issues too. They've had coaches with DUIs. They've had coaches that got hired and then fired for posting racist things on social media. So it's been there's definitely been a lot of hiring issues. So I do think Ward Manuel's in trouble, but I think he's survived long enough to at least hire the next head coach. So that's college sports for you, man. I don't have any explanation. Just is what it is.
Never trust the snow bunnies.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So,
but
all right, you guys. Well, I do have to get rolling here. My
Me
kid's
too.
probably like, "Where are you?" So, we'll be back on Monday. But yeah, join us for these live chats every Saturday. Thanks everybody who's watching on the replay. Maybe hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.